Every year, luxury real estate world puts a fresh outlook on what exactly showing up inside of the most expensive houses in whole country. And today we basically wanted to go through it and update you versus the most recent version.
Now we're going to talk about really what we have in Pitt County. So I can't talk to you about those machines that people use to get their grass because they cause natural grain, which is fascinating because I have not seen those around here. But really we're looking at what we have in Pitt County because there's really something to look at, especially if you're buying in the top tier or you just want to know what the top tier can buy. Really just really talk about what the rest of the country is talking about with what is in these luxury homes.
Either way, here is a real look at what the national conversation basically is trending toward, and we are actually get a ready home to show whenever it exactly sits.
Okay, so let's start with what the fun part is, right? Let's go right to the kitchens because kitchens change all the time. And the modern kitchen is the biggest shift we see in luxury when you're flipping through all of the information for years. The goal was having one single open concept kitchen. The national trend now in super luxury is actually not that anymore. It's actually two kitchens.
Two kitchens. Exactly. The one that you see on a tour, call it show kitchen, which you saw many of the luxury video tours, and that is what it is. And then stay open to the living space for gathering and entertaining. That is the kitchen number one.
But behind that, we're going back to like pre-Victorian England in some ways, or because behind that is the pocket door or the second passage, and there is a second fully run working kitchen where they actually are doing the cooking, the dishes, and the mess happens. So if you're a Bridgerton fan, you know that the Bridgertons might have their own pretend kitchen, but they pretend to cook or whatever, but really it's going to be the workers in the back of the room that do all the work, and really having that second kitchen to where the caterers might work is a trend that is really happening again in luxury.
And basically, sometimes they call it a scullery, or as my wife said, a back kitchen.
Scullery.
And the idea is that kitchen guests never gets cluttered. And the material also shifting too.
Right, so now let's talk about these kitchens in and of itself. Natural stones like Taj Mahal and Cristala, I don't even know how to say it, I'm not going to lie. Cristallo quartz is replacing manufactured quartz. And this means we're looking for those natural quartz with full height slab backsplashes running straight to the ceiling instead of just backsplash and tile.
Exactly. Therefore, the edge on those big islands actually going soft and rounded OG profile instead of being sharp. This is basically trend of the luxury. And flat edge that has been standard look instead of flat one that it has been a standard for many years.
The next thing we're going to talk about is cabinetry itself. It's warmer toned. We're looking at a lot of rift cut white oak, walnuts instead of that sparkle white paired with some sort of mixed finishes. Or unlacquered brass next to polished nickel and matte black. So we're looking for mixed metals as well. So that's basically how that can go as well. And
now let's talk about appliances.
Yeah.
Appliances basically lean into the same split kitchen idea with basically full column refrigerator and freezer up front for show, and a second commercial style range, an extra dishwasher, and a walk-in pantry tucked into the back of the kitchen, doing the real work for you.
Next thing you see in ultra luxury of the modern day is wellness spaces, which is interesting as well. So we care about our beauty as well, or how we're aging when we get into the luxury world. It used to just be a home gym, to be entirely honest. A home gym where you could just kind of work out. That was the old way. Now the trend is to have a full contrast therapy suite built into your home, where you can have a cold plunge, which has to be chilled to 39 degrees, paired with a hot spa. Sometimes even infrared saunas, all in the same room. So you're going from your cold plunge to your hot spa, and you're getting your infrared all at the same time. So like your at-home spa experience.
And on the lighting system, basically, that shifts the color and brightness through the day to match the sun outside of the home. And this is the standard that we didn't have it before.
Yeah, I just had ceiling lights, but apparently now your ceiling lights can match the sun outside, which means you're getting that natural rhythm of the world. Now, the air and the water system is getting way more attention in luxury space too. Filtration systems to catch the standards are just the basic standards. So filtration systems are there as well.
Exactly. Whether or not every buyer cares about the science behind of it, the space itself has become a real selling point at the level that we were talking about, because we were talking about the top tier luxury here. A dedicated room, not a corner of the garage with a treadmill. Therefore, we are not talking about like an older style, the way that's supposed to be done, but the way that the science dictates that how it needs to be done.
And also, speaking of these luxury homes, this is something many people in our area really care about. Primary suites are typically on the first floor level, specifically so we can age in place. So we do like wider hallways as well, and no threshold shower. So the more luxury you go, they want to be able to age in place, and so the floor plans are made to accompany that.
Exactly. Now we wanted to talk about a little bit of the self-sufficiency and security, and there is what the Outlook calls the independence feature. And what is that?
The first one we're talking about is backup generators, right? I kind of want a backup generator too as well, I'm not going to lie, but a backup generator means that my whole house could be fully working, and if it could be solar, that would be even more amazing, because apparently that's what they use in luxury now. So you have a solar powered battery machine that can run the whole house. Whenever there's an outage, you would not even ever notice.
Exactly. And some of the homes' profile are even generating their own drinking water on site.
That was the favorite crazy one. I Googled it the second I read it. I was like, wait, what is this?
My wife actually mentioned it in the beginning of video, and pulling it straight from the air. And you could see many videos out there in the internet that actually showing that how they generate for that straight from the air the drinking water. And this is kind of a home water generation system on the top of the municipal water supply that you have. And of course, we said in the beginning about the filtered water as a part of the luxury style.
Now, these creating out of humidity water, which is fascinating to me, sounded kind of fun. I do not see a lot of houses that have the irrigation systems that I saw in the luxury thing, having this like create your own rain for your garden. I didn't see that in Pitt County, but that sounds something kind of so cool that I want to see. Oh, at 3 o'clock we have our rain every day. But security is changing too.
Exactly. Therefore, instead of just the cameras at the gate, some of this property use a small drone that basically patrols on a schedule from its own changing dot and flies.
Charging dock.
Charging dot and flying out is on its own, and if something that basically trips a sensor for that.
So no longer it's not the lockbox with the keypad with the entry or the face scan or the palm screen. There's no physical key setting or anything to lose. So that is kind of fun. The drones are flying in the air on a schedule. And technology that's going to disappear. This is something that luxury cares about as well, because we know that technology is changing. 2025 was nothing like 2026, probably nothing like 2027, at least in terms of tech. And a few years ago, luxury just meant a wall panel with buttons, right?
Exactly.
Now it's not.
Now the goal actually is the opposite. The speakers built into the wall behind the drywall, so you are never basically never see them, and shade that recess into the ceiling instead of hanging, and TV that lifts up behind a piece of art when you are not watching it.
The systems that basically quietly adjust the lighting and room temperature based on the time of the day without anybody having to hit any switches at all.
Exactly.
So what you are supposed to know, you don't even notice your comfort. You're just noticing that you're fine, and you're not noticing like I have to go change things, and you're not noticing the equipment at all. That's really what people are looking for, so they can just live their lives without any information. Now, let's just hypothetically say you have this amazing home that all of these features here, or you're looking for this home, but let's talk about this.
Exactly. Now, flip side into the seller side, because we talk about all from the home buyer basically vision and how it's going to look in the eyes of the home buyer.
Well,
now,
just what you want in our home.
On the flip side, because getting a home ready for the market at any level of the luxury, but especially top tier of luxury, it has its own process, and it starts before a single showing or schedule a single
This
showing.
still means even if you have all of these features on your home, which already sounds awesome and I want to come see it, but basically we still have to remember curb appeal matters. Roof, paint, landscape, entryways. Just because you have all the cool buttons doesn't mean that people don't care about the paint. They absolutely do. So every hardware, every touch has to be cleaned and updated, and really it's setting the tone for everything by keeping it this way.
Exactly. And then And what it matters also, a pre-listing inspection done ahead of a time that reports ready to hand a buyer, so there are no surprises in the middle of the contract.
And staging matters, absolutely. An empty room does not show the buyer what they can actually do with this room. So small details really hit that emotional punch. They really show, and that's what we should. If we take out all of our furniture, then that kind of leaves it a little empty as well.
Exactly. And it's also worth showcasing whatever, especially a space that a home already has. For example, a wine cellar, a chef kitchen with a real high-end appliances, window cleaned, spotless, so a panoramic view actually reads as a panoramic view, not an smudge.
And pricing really comes down to comparables. And if there are no comparables, we have to really talk about how big the house is, because the square footage definitely does matter. And really what kind of features we're talking about that really kind of set you apart from every other house, and why it makes your house a little bit more special.
Exactly. Therefore, what exactly means for you if you are touring homes in this tier of the luxury,
or you just want to know what the 2026 trends are,
or you wanted to know what is the trend is, as my wife said, you can judge any home on its own merit instead of guessing. The back kitchen, the wellness center, or the wellness room, a backup power are things that worth asking about, not things to assume that already there in that home.
Now, none of this means that you need to install the cold plunge into your house. If you do not have a spa and you do not want a cold plunge, like I personally wouldn't want one, I'm never going to do it. If you try to add it to my house, I'm just going to look at it and say, you have fun. I'm never going to do it. So you don't have to add it if you don't actually ever going to use it and it's not something you actually want. It doesn't make you have to do it to sell your home. But these are basically national trends, and they show the house well, and preparing the right way will help it go to market better.
Exactly. And if you wanted to talk about what your home fits into what happenings right now, top tier luxury in this market, buying or selling, please call us. Alan Victoria Pinder, Icon Agent with eXp Realty. And in the description below, you can book an appointment with us. And also you can find all the detail of the information, all the guides that we have for you, that it gives you a clue that what is our service